Welcome back to Mornings in the Lab Reloaded, the morning loop here. We just wrapped up hour one, hanging out with AJ and Daniel Hall and Chris and John. And hey, we're kicking off hour two here with one of the most talked about moments in sports history. Yeah, true story. Nah, it's not Wayne Gretzky's goal. Nope. We're talking about Allen Iverson's famous practice press conference.
We talking about practice.
We talking about practice. And the last couple of days, we've been talking about practice. Johnny always talks about, what do you say, Johnny? How you practice is how you play, or what's Johnny's? You got something you say there, Johnny, all the time.
I got so many things I say all the time. Shit, which one are you talking about? But I would say the thing that's missed about practice is what creates confidence.
Yes.
So when you practice something every day, you're going to build your confidence. And that's the thing, is people don't recognize it, especially when you're practicing in the dark, so to speak. When
yes.
you practice when
nobody's looking.
And remind yourself this, and this is something I tell myself all the time. The darker it is, the closer I am to the light. Remember that. When it's really dark, keep going, because next thing you know, poof. It's not going to be a little light that you spot at the end of the tunnel. It's going to come hard and fast, but it's only reserved for those who have the nuts to keep going when it's pitch dark.
That's exactly it. So we've been talking about practice over here for the last couple of days. We talked yesterday about how to change your life, and it's really about doing the boring things day in, day out, doing things day in, day out. And we talk about how you practice is how we play. A couple years back, Allen Iverson sat down and had a press conference around practice. We're going to run the clip, break down what happened, and dive into the deeper question with C. Marty and AJ and Johnny, which is, how important is practice? And do we put too much emphasis on it? Let's get the video running, Jimmy. Let's have the conversation after this. Let's roll it. It's about 2 minutes, guys. Let's put it up here.
Tell you that I miss practice. If a coach say I miss practice and y'all hear it, then that's that. I might have missed one practice this year. But if somebody say he doesn't come to practice, it can be one practice. Out of all the practices this year, that's enough. If I can't practice, I can't practice, man. I'm hurt. Simple as that. It ain't about that. It's not about that at all. You know what I'm saying? But it's easy to talk about. It's easy to sum it up when you just talk about practice. We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. Listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice. Not a game. Not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the game. We're talking about practice, man. How silly is that, man? We're talking about practice. I know I'm supposed to be there. I know I'm supposed to lead by example. I know that. And I'm not shoving it aside like it don't mean anything. I know it's important. I do. I honestly do. But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man. When you come in the arena and you see me play, don't you? Absolutely. You see me give everything I got, right? Absolutely. But we talking about practice right now. But it's an issue that we're talking about practice. Man, look, I hear you. It's funny to me too. I mean, it's strange to me too. But we talking about practice, man. We're not even talking about the game, the actual game, when it matters. We're talking about practice. How the hell can I make my teammates better by practice?
All right, let's get into it. So that clip never gets old. It never gets old, but it brings up an important question. Marty, I'm looking to you first, brother. Iverson was one of the greatest to ever play the game. And yet here we are, and here he is sitting talking about practice. So what's the takeaway? Is practice really everything, Christopher Martin, C. Marty Fit? Or do we sometimes put too much emphasis on it? John talks about practice is how we play, especially when the game itself is what really counts. I want to hear, Nation, you guys are tuning in right now. What are your thoughts in the comments? Marty, you first, AJ, you next, and then Zeglin after that. I'm sorry, Marty, AJ, and Johnny. Marty, you first, brother. What did you take on this?
Yeah, man, he's the franchise player. He's bringing in millions. When it's time to perform, when the game is on the line, you can count on Allen Iverson, right? That's what he's getting paid for. That's what you drafted him for. That's what he's known for. Now, I'm pretty sure if he missed practice, he had a legit reason. He said he was hurt, and if he's hurt, he can't perform, and people are coming to watch him play. So maybe the guy needed a day off. I think the reporters were also looking for a reason just to mess with him, because that's what the media does. They need a great storyline. So you got to understand that too. But at the end of the day, you got to perform. So let's move that to business. Are you getting the sales? Are you getting the results? If not, who cares what coaching course you took? All right? Because that would be practice for business. Oh, yeah, I got the best. I work with Keith Billis and John Anderson, but you ain't getting no sales. So who cares? Mm-hmm. If you're the family guy, well, I'm working hard, but your kids don't. Your kids don't care. You're not spending time with your kids. You're not spending the time with your wife. Right? Are you performing? Are you performing at a high level, at the highest level? And Allen Iverson does that. So the practice stuff is irrelevant. That was the best analogy I could try to make to real life.
I like that. So AJ, it's an interesting balance, right? You got guys like Iverson, you got guys like Bryant, James, clearly raw talent, performing at the highest level day in and day out. But then you got people like myself, John Anderson, Marty, yourself, who swear by the grind. The daily repetition of practice, reps. So where's the middle ground, AJ? Do we need to rethink how we talk about practice versus performance? Or is this just one of those unique Iverson, like superstar moments where the natural ability outweighs the need for endless practice? Thoughts, AJ?
Yeah, I actually think that practice is still underrated in the things that we could draw from it. And when I work with people on their mental performance, when I'm working with teams and athletes, I actually try to use practice as a vehicle to have them understand that there's still things that they can get out of practice that they're not yet, just based on their perception of what practice is. John was talking about the confidence. That's my number one confidence builder for athletes. So let's keep this in the basketball world, because we're watching an Iverson clip. Mm-hmm. Steph Curry comes down the floor and he shoots a three and he misses. What do you think happens to his confidence? Absolutely nothing. It's still through the roof. Do you think he's even going to hesitate to shoot another three the next time they're down the floor?
Right.
No, he won't, right? Where does that come from? Keith, you mentioned Kobe Bryant and these guys of all this extreme talent. Yes, tons of natural talent, but what actually separates the guys at the very top? It's all the things that require no talent. You're not going to get in the gym before Kobe Bryant got in the gym.
Yep.
Steph Curry shoots 500 shots a day, right? Steph Curry is confident that he can go down the floor the next possession and shoot a three because he shoots 500 shots a day.
Right. So the one is like whatever, right?
So one's whatever. He knows he can do it. How is he confident if I went down the basketball court and I shot a three and I missed, the next possession I'm going down, I am not shooting, man. I think I'm going to be on the bench. I think I'm going to be whatever. I don't shoot 500 shots a day, right? I bet you if you actually went back and looked with Allen Iverson and looked at how much he was on the playground shooting hoops when he was a little kid, and then how much he was probably just lived in the gym in high school, probably shooting baskets after school, before school, at lunch hour, doing whatever. That's all practice. That's where his confidence comes from. He didn't show up in the NBA and he was a superstar all of a sudden. He wasn't born a great performer in the NBA. He had to get there somehow.
Yes.
Right? He had natural ability for sure, but I bet you could go through almost any city in the States and stop at any outside basketball hoop and probably find a million guys that are great at basketball.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to add,
there and making and some are not, right?
Marty,
I wanted
talent. Yeah.
My bad, AJ. My bad. I wanted to add a quick context to that. That was in 2002. I just looked it up. I'm pretty sure that was the year they went to the finals. Yep. They lost to the Lakers. But if they went to the finals, he's been at practice, and the team was practicing at a pretty high level if they made it to the finals. So right. I just wanted to add that in there too.
Yes.
That was ridiculous, but go ahead.
But Marty, that's good though, because that's 20 years ago, but nothing's changed. So Johnny, looking at you, brother, practice is important, but it's got to have purpose. You can't just go through the motions, and you can't rely just solely on talent. And I'm looking at you, brother, because you stepped into 3 different careers and became one of the greats in 3 of them. It doesn't happen with natural raw talent, even though Marty John is, oh yeah, I'm the fucking most natural talented bodybuilder there is. But joking aside, you had to put the practice in, Johnny. Talk about practicing with purpose instead of practicing just to practice.
I think what's being missed with this whole conversation is and for those listening, I'm sure that you guys are probably thinking this, is we're talking about, when we talk about practice, we're talking about dribbling, we're talking about shooting, we're talking about practice on the floor, which is great. But what my message is, okay, he's hurt. He can't practice that way. There is always something to practice. When I got hurt, and I got hurt plenty of times, it gave me an opportunity to practice on something else that I didn't have the time to practice. Maybe part of my regime was there was a small piece of my training or my practice that only allowed a small piece because the physicalities were taking up most of the time. All of a sudden, if I'm hurt, the physicality portion is on the shelf. Guess what? I get a huge opportunity to practice something else to make me better. And I think that's what's missed, is that there's always something to practice. If you want to get better, it's there. An injury is in many cases a huge opportunity because it gives you a chance to focus on something else you may not have had time to focus on.
Mm-hmm. AJ, let's bring this back to Mindfield. The mental, we talked awareness and intention. How can somebody practice mindfulness on a daily basis? Because I love what John just said. Just because you can't do one thing doesn't mean you can't do something else. Yeah. Right? Creating mindfulness requires intention. How can somebody practice mindfulness on a daily basis through intention so that maybe if they can't do something, they can do something else? AJ.
So the best definition of mindfulness is just living in that exact moment.
Yes.
We're not worried about the future, which it's all stuff that hasn't even happened yet. And we're not worried about the past, which is a whole bunch of stuff that can't be changed, right? We're just living in the current moment and appreciating everything that's happening in the current moment. That's mindfulness in itself, right? The best thing about mindfulness is there's opportunities. We talked about, let me take one half step back here. I don't mean to make this too long of an answer, but we want to simplify stuff. We don't want to wake up in the morning and have 50 things to be better, right? So let's look at things that have layers to them where we get physical benefit, mental benefit, emotional benefit, right? So if we're talking about practice, when I work with athletes, one of the best things is like, you're already showing up to the rink every day and having to go to practice. It's already something that you do. Mm-hmm. If we could increase your awareness that, hey, I can actually benefit from this in a positive manner, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. Now I can practice with a higher amount of intent and I can check multiple boxes off something that I was already had to do anyway. If we're going to the gym. I think that the gym is probably the greatest mindfulness thing that anyone can have. When you're in the gym and you're working out, the physical benefits might be obvious to people. It is an exercise in mindfulness at its greatest, right? When you're in the gym and you're lifting, during that set, you're lifting that weight, you're thinking about the form, the technique, the way the weight feels. You are solely existing in that moment, right? When I'm under how much I love bench press, when I'm sitting there, I could have all these thoughts in my mind leading up. I'm trying to concentrate. I get down, I get set at bar. I'm only existing right in that moment. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not worried about anything in the past. I'm not thinking about anything in the future when I'm lifting that weight. It is the perfect vehicle for mindfulness, is getting in the gym and working out and exercising. We don't want to add a million things to your day. We want to have a couple things and do them really well and understand that these things have multiple layers to them and can benefit us in a very holistic manner.
Awesome. AJ Seglin, Johnny, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, just to break things down for people, keep it real simple. If you have a set time that you practice something, and let's say you get injured and you can't practice that, use that time you've already got set to practice something else. There's so many levels of practice. And when you are in the rhythm, you have a routine of practice, don't think that you can get better in so many different ways. So don't shortchange yourself. Having an opportunity to focus on practicing something else, in many cases, is going to open a door that wouldn't have opened had you not got hurt or not whatever happened that knocked you out of your normal rhythm. So don't for a minute think that stuff like this is not helpful. You just have to there's an opportunity in every shortcoming. You just got to basically have the nuts to work through it and see it and go get it. But don't just think of practice as one thing. You can practice anything to get better.
Practice is progress, the oldest cliche in the book. Hey, listen, if you're loving this discussion, I invite you to hit that like button, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it. We got AJ Zegman hang out with us this morning. Hey, listen, we got the In the Gym segment with C. Marty and John coming up next. They're going to break down the ultimate shoulder workout. But while we're doing that, we're going to walk AJ out of the lab here. And we're going to
Thank you, AJ.
Thank you, AJ. Appreciate it.
Walk John and Marty.
That was terrible.
And we're gonna break down the ultimate shoulder workout with not John Anderson, only with Christopher Martin and my beautiful wife Lauren Warniak. So Lauren's joining us for the show here. Johnny,
AJ's gone now, man. Good job, AJ.
All right, AJ's awesome, man. AJ joins us Tuesdays and Thursdays to talk mind fuel, getting your getting yourself mentally sorted out to hit those big goals here. But listen, guys, John and Marty are going to talk shoulders. How to create the ultimate shoulder workout with Christopher Martin, aka C. Marty Fit, and John Anderson. I'm going to get off stage for 10 minutes, go change the battery in my camera. These guys are going to chit chat or get at her.